Obviously it's a hot topic. So I'm just curious, why did you feel the need to weigh in now, take a stand on it?
Yeah, I think our industry has kind of treated these types of things as PR issues. And our feeling is it's more governance issues, and especially with the information that came out with the WPP legal
Right.
situation that they're going through, that the depth and the amount is startling a lot of people. And our industry needs to govern itself. It needs to act responsibly. And I think, rebates and principal-based buying doesn't do anything to help build trust with our clients.
I mean, one of the questions I have is it depends on the relationship between the client and the agency and what's disclosed and what's not. There have always been forms of principal media buying in the industry, and those clients and those agencies, as long as they were on board with it, what's wrong with that? I think the problem is when it's not disclosed.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is. That's it in a nutshell. And I think the ANA just released some information that 90% of advertisers feel a little uncertain about this principal-based buying and rebates, that they feel they don't know enough about what's truly going on.
Yeah, you cited that in your letter. I think that was an interesting study because it actually showed that versus the benchmark, which was like a year or two ago, more of the respondents plan to use principal buying going forward. But there's definitely issues with it. A lot of them were unfamiliar with what it really is. Um, so again, my question is, isn't this about disclosure and how agencies are compensated or how they're not? Media neutrality. If you make your money by selling certain preferred media, that's an
Conflict
issue.
of interest, right? In a nutshell. Yes.
Absolutely. Um, I don't know if you saw another independent agency, uh, uh, Jared Belsky from Acadia has taken a position on it. I gave him a little bit of the business for their latest push to promote it via a website, a microsite, where he's giving out his big checks, rebate checks back to his clients. But I think it's drawing attention. The important part is it's drawing attention to the practice and what's going on. Um, I guess one of the questions I have for you, being an independent, a long-running independent agency, isn't it easy to take shots at the holding company right now?
Sometimes they make it easy, but in all actuality, I don't know if anyone could observe these practices and feel that it was fair, that there wasn't a conflict of interest, that I use the analogy that if a family hires a nutritionist to buy food for them, and the nutritionist acts as an agent and they shop the whole grocery store, the family gets the food that they need, right? If it's a principle-based nutritionist and they're just got a truckload of yogurt and granola and some peanuts, and the family starts eating a lot of granola and yogurt and peanuts, the family soon discovers that this wasn't such a great deal. So as long as you know the details and the nuance, and it's not just glossed over, but it's the client and the advertiser asks enough questions to feel very comfortable with it, that they're getting a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the real issue now, and I think the ANA is getting at it, which is coming up with standards. On the other hand, that those studies they've done have not come up with recommended standards for principal buying. They're just documenting what the current perceptions are and the usage among clients and agencies. Maybe this would be a good time for, if not the ANA, some other organization, maybe the 4As or somebody like that, to take a stand and set some standards for, what to do, what not to do.
Well, I also feel that procurement and the purchasing departments at clients, this could be their golden moment, right?
Mhm.
That they did a really good job of negotiating fees. And now they may need to shine a light on what's behind those fees. Who's How is their agency getting paid? Are they the only ones paying their agency, or are their agencies getting paid by the media partners and the media vendors? And if so, what are the details and can we audit the
Mhm.
details? That is not a good relationship or a good contract unless you can prove
Mhm.
what's actually um, in the words that they say.
I just came back from the ANA's media conference in Nashville last week, and Michael Farmer, who's written these famous books about Madison Avenue, is coming out with a new one. And unlike the others, he actually addresses media in this one. It's not just about creative, but the net is he's recommending that agencies shift from uh, campaign and media buying type metrics to outputs. That the clients should be paying the agencies based on the output of the campaign, what it delivered. So in a way, I mean, isn't that a workaround beyond, um, you know, kickbacks and rebates and principal? It kind of doesn't matter what your media buying compensation is if you're delivering for your client.
Exactly. And I think through media mix modeling, it's easier to prove that your campaign is working rather than the 12 other things being done in marketing, right? Because there's always a lot of moving pieces to it. But there's a more certain way to put a number to the results that you're generating. But clients are having a hard time getting there. They don't they don't feel comfortable with that model yet, but I can see clients moving in that direction because there's way too much money being spent in media and not to have it be able to be audited, not to have the rebates that you're securing being passed back to the clients. You know, that I don't think anyone would think that's okay.
Yeah, again, if it's not disclosed, if that's not the business arrangement.
Yeah.
Look, I remember interviewing Cal Leibowitz back in the day at KSL Media, and he was straight up. He says, my clients allow me to do this. He was time banking and, using media credits to make a margin, basically arbitraging the media credits. But I asked him why, and he said, well, it's the form of compensation our clients pay us. They weren't paying him commissions. So I think it's different strokes for different folks, and I think it's good that the spotlight's being shined on this right now, but um, it's not necessarily an unsavory practice. It's definitely not the conventional wisdom right now. I think the holding companies drew a lot of light on it, and I think there's, like you point out with WPP, there's some circumspection going on right now. Anyway, I'm going to link to your letter. Is there any closing words of wisdom you'd like to leave our readers?
Sure. As Harmelin goes, we are 100% an agent for our clients, that we allow them to audit the work that we're doing at any moment, that we provide the media costs to them on a monthly basis, that the rebates that we achieve on behalf of our media vendors and our negotiations goes right back to our clients. So there's one true sight, a line of sight into how we are compensated. So our clients work with us for a very long time, and we need to make sure that there's trust between agencies and their clients, or there's short-lived relationships. So I feel like our industry needs to do a better job of making sure that we're disclosing all the details that need to be disclosed.